When you open a jar of cocoa powder, the smell of chocolate rises almost instantly. It's warm, deep, and so familiar your brain doesn't stop to question it. One breath is enough to bring back cakes, hot milk, and small everyday comforts. But chocolate is not just a sweet treat. Before it ever sat on a kitchen shelf, it was a bitter drink, used as medicine, traded as currency, and tied to power, labor, and stories few people like to remember. Behind that familiar aroma lies a long history, a surprisingly complex process, and truths most of us never hear, all quietly shaping how chocolate tastes to us today. But what makes chocolate truly delicious isn't sugar at all. Welcome to Secrets of Simple Things. Chocolate was once something people were afraid to drink. Chocolate was never sweet to begin with. Chocolate did not begin as a sweet comfort food. Its earliest form was a bitter, spicy drink consumed in Mesoamerica thousands of years ago. Made from ground cacao beans mixed with water, chili, and sometimes corn, it was thick, foamy, and intense. There was no sugar, no cream, no indulgence. This drink was not meant to be pleasant. It was meant to be powerful. To the people who drank it, chocolate was something that sharpened the senses, energized the body, and marked important moments. Compared to the smooth sweetness we know today, it would have tasted almost unrecognizable. Chocolate was not created to be enjoyed casually. It was created to mean something. And when it finally reached Europe, many believed it was poison. From sacred gift to currency. In early Mesoamerican cultures, cacao was never just food. It was believed to be a gift from the gods, something sacred, reserved for rituals, rulers, and warriors. Chocolate drinks were served in ceremonies tied to birth, death, and power. Over time, cacao became even more valuable. Not only symbolically, but economically. Cacao beans were used as currency. They could be counted, traded, stored, and taxed. In a very real sense, chocolate was money. And like all money, it became tightly linked to status and control. From the very beginning, chocolate was associated with power. Who could drink it, who could afford it, and who could command its supply. But chocolate's true transformation began when a single machine appeared, and everything changed. The invention that made chocolate affordable. For centuries, chocolate remained rare, expensive, and difficult to produce. Its bitterness could be softened, but its structure stayed the same. Then, a machine entered the story. This invention did something simple, yet revolutionary. It pressed cacao, separating its fat from its solids. Suddenly, chocolate could be transformed. Suddenly, it could be standardized, powdered, transported, and scaled. Chocolate was no longer just a ritual drink or a luxury for the elite. It was on its way to becoming an industry. That machine didn't just create cocoa powder, it created an entire system, and with it, a darker side we'll return to later. You won't believe what cocoa actually starts as. Fresh cacao beans are nothing like chocolate. Cocoa does not begin as powder. It begins inside a tropical fruit called the cacao pod. Cacao trees grow in warm, humid regions near the equator. They are relatively small, about 15 to 25 feet tall, but they produce large, colorful pods shaped like oversized footballs. Inside each pod are roughly 30 to 50 seeds, packed tightly together and covered in a white, sticky pulp. Those seeds are cacao beans. Fresh cacao beans taste nothing like chocolate. They are bitter, astringent, and almost unpleasant on their own. The pulp around them is sweet and fruity, often compared to lychee or mango, but the beans themselves are sharp and harsh. So the question becomes unavoidable. If cacao beans start out like this, where does chocolate actually come from? The step that turns bitterness into chocolate isn't roasting. It's a process most people never see. Fermentation, where chocolate is born. That hidden step is fermentation. After harvesting, cacao pods are opened by hand, often with machetes, and the beans, still covered in pulp, are removed. They are then piled into shallow wooden boxes or wrapped in banana leaves and left to ferment for about 5 to 7 days. During fermentation, natural yeasts and bacteria break down the sugary pulp. This activity generates heat, often raising temperatures above 45 to 50 degrees Celsius, and triggers chemical changes inside the beans. This is where chocolate flavor begins. Fermentation reduces bitterness and creates the compounds that roasting will later amplify. Without fermentation, cacao would never develop the aroma or depth we associate with chocolate. No fermentation means no chocolate. And once the aroma begins to form, the next step sounds familiar, much like roasting coffee. Roasting, winnowing, and the cocoa nib. Once fermentation is complete, the beans are spread out and dried under the sun for 1 to 2 weeks, depending on weather conditions. Drying reduces moisture and prevents mold, making the beans stable enough to ship. At processing facilities, the dried beans are roasted. Roasting temperatures and times vary depending on the desired flavor. Lighter roasts preserve fruity notes, while darker roasts create deeper, bolder chocolate flavors. After roasting, the beans are cracked open. Machines called winnowers blow away the lighter outer shells, leaving behind the dense inner core known as cocoa nibs. Cocoa nibs are crunchy, bitter, and intensely chocolatey, a clear midpoint between raw beans and finished chocolate. But when nibs are ground, something essential finally appears, a fat that changes everything. Cocoa liquor, a misleading name. Grinding cocoa nibs creates friction. That friction generates heat, which melts the fat inside the nibs, cocoa butter, and turns the mixture into a thick, glossy paste called cocoa liquor. Despite the name, cocoa liquor contains no alcohol. It is simply pure cacao in liquid form, made of cocoa solids and cocoa butter held together. This paste is the foundation of all chocolate products. At this point, chocolate is whole. But here comes the major twist. Cocoa powder is made by taking chocolate apart. Pressing. What gets removed? To make cocoa powder, cocoa liquor is fed into powerful hydraulic presses. Under immense pressure, most of the cocoa butter is squeezed out. That cocoa butter is highly valuable. It's used in chocolate bars, cosmetics, lotions, and even pharmaceuticals because of its smooth texture and stability. What remains is a dense, dry cocoa cake made mostly of cocoa solids. This cake is crushed and finely ground into cocoa powder. So cocoa powder is not chocolate at its richest. It is what remains after the most valuable part has been removed. And if cocoa powder is what's left behind, then what is it that makes chocolate so addictive? Chocolate is delicious for a reason that has nothing to do with taste. Chocolate is smell, not taste. Science twist. Most people think chocolate tastes good because it's sweet, but sweetness plays a much smaller role than we imagine. The rich chocolate experience comes primarily from cocoa butter, which contains around 600 aroma molecules. These molecules are released slowly as cocoa butter melts in your mouth and travels up into your nasal passages. This means chocolate isn't really tasted the way we think. It's smelled from the inside. That's why eating chocolate slowly makes it seem more flavorful. The longer it melts, the more aroma reaches your nose. Eat too fast, and you mostly get sugar and fat. In a very real sense, We don't eat chocolate with our tongues, we eat it with our noses. But if aroma shapes how chocolate feels, then what shapes which chocolate we choose to buy? Packaging controls the decision, psychology twist. In 2019, researchers ran a simple but revealing experiment. Participants were shown chocolates with wrappers, without wrappers, and even empty packaging, without tasting anything at all. The result was clear. Chocolate with attractive packaging was rated far more positively. Unwrapped chocolate scored significantly lower, even when it was identical. Further studies suggest that packaging influences up to 60% of candy buying decisions. We like to believe we buy chocolate because of flavor. In reality, we often buy it because it looks right. We don't choose chocolate with our mouths. We choose it with our eyes. And there's something even stranger. The same cup of cocoa can taste better just by changing its color. Color changes flavor, perception twist. In a 2013 study, volunteers were given the same hot chocolate served in different colored mugs. Nothing changed except the color. Yet the results were consistent. Hot chocolate in orange or cream-colored mugs was rated as tasting richer and more pleasant than the same drink in other colors. The flavor didn't change. The context did. Our brains don't experience taste in isolation. They combine smell, sight, expectation, and memory into a single perception. Chocolate doesn't just exist on the tongue. It exists in the mind. And at one point in history, that mind trick pushed chocolate in a very different direction. It became medicine. Chocolate began in the pharmacy. History oddity. In the 19th century, chocolate syrup wasn't a dessert topping. It was a medical tool. Doctors mixed bitter cocoa powder with sugar to create thick syrups that helped patients swallow unpleasant medicines. Chocolate masked bitterness and made treatment easier. Before it was poured over ice cream, chocolate lived behind pharmacy counters. Only later did people realize that this medicine made almost everything taste better, and chocolate quietly moved from the pharmacy to the kitchen. But the darkest side of chocolate doesn't sit on a shelf. It hides in the supply chain. The price behind the sweetness, dark truth. Most of the world's cocoa comes from regions near the equator, particularly West Africa. Behind the demand for cheap chocolate lies a reality many consumers never see. In some areas, cocoa farming is still linked to poor working conditions and child labor. These issues persist not because they're invisible, but because they're easy to ignore. Chocolate didn't become affordable by accident. Its price was pushed down somewhere else. Occasionally, the absurdity becomes visible, like ivory being smuggled inside chocolate bars, or novelty products that turn chocolate into something meant to be inhaled rather than eaten. These extremes aren't the point. They're symptoms. Chocolate is still sweet. But once you see the system behind it, it's harder to call it simple. 1 spoon of cocoa, one entire world. When you open a jar of cocoa powder now, that familiar aroma may feel a little different. You know it doesn't come from magic. You know it was shaped by fermentation, heat, pressure, time, and by choices made far beyond your kitchen. Nothing about chocolate has changed. Only your understanding has. This isn't a call to give it up. It's simply an invitation to slow down, to let it melt, to taste it with a little more awareness than before. Because even the simplest foods carry stories of history, of science, and of people we rarely see. So tell us, do you prefer natural cocoa or Dutch processed cocoa? Have you ever noticed how packaging changes the way something tastes to you? And if you'd like to keep exploring the hidden stories behind everyday things, there's always another jar waiting to be opened. Our team uses publicly available online sources and AI-assisted research tools to create this video. We strive for accuracy, but errors or omissions may still occur. So please view this content for entertainment purposes only, and use your own judgment when considering any information presented. Nothing here is intended as professional, legal, medical, financial, or safety advice, nor as encouragement for risky or illegal actions. We do not promote hate, harassment, violence, or misleading information, and we work to comply with YouTube's community guidelines, terms of service, copyright and fair use rules, and all applicable laws. If you believe any part of this video infringes your rights or violates YouTube policy, please contact us.